Welcome to the Man of Recaps. This is The Walking Dead Season 10. At the end of Season 9, Alpha showed our group the gigantic zombie horde that her people the Whisperers are controlling. She threatened to unleash it on them if they cross into her territory, and she marked the border with heads on pikes. Yes, a couple of big characters in there, including Stick Boy Henry, Carol's adopted son, devastating. So now some of the gang wants to fight back, but they just can't risk it when she has that gigantic zombie horde. General Aaron starts training the troops though, and now that it's almost a decade after the zombie apocalypse, there's no bullets left. They gotta get medieval. Yes, Aaron's come a long way. Remember, I called him Nerdy Justin Timberlake when we met him in Season 5, but now he's grown out to sexy apocalypse beard, and one of his arms is literally a medieval weapon. Now one day, the status quo gets shaken up when an old satellite crashes nearby. They have to cross into the Whisperers' territory to put out the fire, but no Whisperers show up. In fact, no one's seen any in a while. Daryl and Carol go to check it out, and the zombie horde's not there anymore. Guess the Whisperers moved on. But no such luck, cause Alpha's there watching them. Yeah, the horde's not gone, she just moved it. Whoops. Alpha's like, look, I understand you had to put out the fire. I won't unleash the horde just for that. But more walkers than usual do start showing up. Any small group of walkers is no problem, but when they keep coming in small groups over 48 hours, it's exhausting. Other weird things start happening, like a tree falls on Hilltop. It's like, wait, was that the Whisperers or just a coincidence? But most people are starting to think it's the Whisperers, and unrest grows in the communities. Silence the Whisperers, graffiti everywhere. The main target of this Whisperer hate is Lydia, Alpha's daughter, which is super unfair because she turned against the Whisperers to help our group last season. So Lydia befriends another outcast, Mr. Negan. Yes, for good behavior, he's allowed out of his cell these days, and much like he befriended Judith last season, now he befriends Lydia, becomes her Uncle Negan. So one night when a couple of bullies come to kill Lydia, it's Uncle Negan to the rescue. Unfortunately, he pushed this one woman a little too hard. Ooh, she's dead. That definitely violates his parole. Even with Lydia vouching for him, the council still votes to execute him. But before they can, someone let Negan out of his cell. Yes, the Negan is Freegan. He rolls up to Alpha like, yo, they were gonna execute me, so the enemy of my enemy and all that. And so Negan joins the Whisperers. It's not a great fit for him though. Negan talks constantly. He's not getting the whole whispering thing. Now back at Alexandria, we've got the baby crew. It's Rosita's baby, and Sadiq's the father from when they were dating, but now she's dating Father Gabriel. And Eugene has a huge crush on Rosita, so he's part of the crew too. It's a big, happy, post-apocalyptic family. Sadiq, though, is dealing with some serious PTSD. Remember, the Whisperers made him watch as they chopped off everyone's heads for the pikes. Luckily, there's a new doctor in town to help out, this nice, funny guy, Dante. But when a whole bunch of people come down with a bad stomach bug, Sadiq can't handle the pressure. He freaks out and jumps in the river.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Being in the water makes him think maybe the water was the problem, and indeed somehow the drinkable and undrinkable water got switched. Sadiq blames himself for being so out of it lately, but his new best friend Dante's like, hey man, don't worry, everyone makes mistakes. But just then, Dante does his little tongue click tick, and boom, Sadiq remembers that one of the Whisperers that held him had that same tick. Yes, Dante is an undercover Whisperer. Unfortunately, Sadiq has no poker face, so Dante knows something up, and they have to fight, and Dante kills Sadiq. Just then, Rosita shows up, and Dante also has no poker face, so she knows something up and stabs him. Just then, Zombie Sadiq wakes up and goes to eat his baby, so Rosita's gotta put him down. A traumatizing experience all around. Father Gabriel, normally the voice of mercy, is like, yo, you put my girl Rosita in danger? No mercy for you! Stabs him multiple times. So Michonne goes over to Oceanside like, hey, watch out for any new people because they might be undercover Whisperers. But just then, a new person shows up. His name is Virgil, and he's like, yo, I'm not a Whisperer, I just need to borrow a boat to get back to my family. Apparently, they live on an island that's an old naval base that might have big weapons to help fight the Whisperers, so Michonne's going for a boat ride with him. Long story short though, Virgil's crazy and there are no weapons here. But she does find a phone with a portrait of her and Judith scratched into it. Rick Grimes was here. What kind of crazy adventure has he been on where he's learned Japanese? So Michonne says goodbye to her adopted daughter Judith, and her and Rick's son, RJ Rick Jr., who's super cute. She creates some new zombie bodyguards like when we first met her, and Michonne leaves the show to go find Rick Grimes. She does find a giant convoy of people. What's that about? Well, maybe find out in the Rick Grimes movies. Now over at the border, Aaron goes back in nice guy mode to befriend the Whisperer station there, who was just dubbed Gamma. Long story short, he eventually gets through to her, and she's like, yeah, no, the Whisperers suck, like, let me help you guys out. She tells them where the horde is hidden, so a bunch of our crew goes out to find it. Tagging along is a bunch of this new group. Yes, it looks like they're sticking around, so I had to finally learn their names. Magna is the hot-headed wild one, Yumiko is the cool level-headed one, and these two are in fact dating. Their plot this season is they have a big fight, but by the end they make up. You remember Luke, the music nerd, who starts a romance with a girl from Oceanside, but the most screen time goes to deaf girl Connie and her sister Kelly, who's unfortunately losing her hearing too. And a romance is blooming with Connie and our boy Daryl. Yes, he's learning sign language for her. They're real cute. Also cute is the best friendship between Carol and Daryl, who I believe are the last characters from seasons 1 through 3 still on the show. Oh, I guess Judith technically counts, though she was a baby. Anyway, Carol's been in a real bad way since Henry's death. She tries to isolate herself, breaking up with King Ezekiel. Ezekiel also in a real bad headspace after Henry's death. Plus, remember last season, the kingdom finally fell. Plus, he's also dying of cancer, so real bad time for him. But Carol's need for vengeance on Alpha has led her to make some bad decisions that have put her life and the whole group at risk. Daryl's like, yo girl, I understand, but please try to be smarter. So when they get to the zombie horde spot, unfortunately it's not there, but Alpha is there, and Carol throws caution into the wind, chases right after her. They follow her into an abandoned mineshaft where, well, they fall down. Good news, they found where she moved the zombie horde. Bad news, they're trapped in here with it. Just as they find their way out, Carol tries to use some dynamite to blow up the horde, and it doesn't kill any zombies, but it does cause a cave-in, trapping Magna and Connie. Carol tries to apologize for making another reckless decision, and for Daryl, it's starting to get old. But now it is time. Alpha's going to unleash the horde. Remember, her right-hand man is this giant guy Beta, who, by the way, is a monster. But her left-hand man is the new recruit, Whisperer Negan. He's full of great advice for her from his experience running his own evil cult, and Alpha takes a liking to him. In fact, one day she's like, hey, so wanna bang? Negan's like, well, it has been a while, I'm in. You're gonna take the zombie mask off though, right? But nope, the zombie mask is staying on, and oh, that just happened. But now the Battle of Hilltop is upon us, and the show goes full Game of Thrones as they put their medieval training to the test. And it works pretty well. Our gang is really good at killing zombies. But this ain't the Whisperer's first rodeo. They launch the flammable tree sap and light Hilltop on fire. So the battle rages within the walls, flames all around. Even little Judith is fighting. She's an expert zombie slayer, but when she stabs a Whisperer, she's never killed a person before. Gotta deal with that. And though they fought valiantly, Hilltop is lost. They have to retreat. After the battle, Lydia runs into her Uncle Negan, but he's working for her evil mom now. Yes, Alpha wants to kill her to prove something to herself. I have to kill her because I love her. So Negan leads her to the shack, and Lydia's trying to untie herself. She manages to escape, but what? It's a different shack? Wait a second, what's Negan up to? Oh, Negan kills Alpha! Sorry girl, you're kinda hot in a freaky way, but you too evil, I gotta put you down. In fact, Negan delivers Alpha's head to the person who released him from his cell exactly for this purpose. It's Carol. Yes, this was Carol's master plan, and she finally got her revenge. They made a deal. If Negan killed Alpha, she'd vouch for him to be part of the group for real. And so, while many of our crew will never forgive Negan, they have to at least admit he's on their side for now. As for Lydia, killing her evil, abusive mom brings up a lot of mixed emotions, but it brings her and Uncle Negan closer together. But the threat of the Whisperers is not over because Beta is still here. He's got a half crush, half cult-like worship of Alpha going, and he is full crazy. He decides to play one of his old records. Yes, turns out Beta was a big-time country music star before the apocalypse, so he puts on a final concert to reunify the dispersed zombie horde, and now he's leading it with his new zombie mask of half Alpha face. He actually marches it right into Alexandria with no resistance, our group evacuated to a more defensible location. But soon he tracks them down there too, and it's the final battle against the Whisperers. Our crew's gotta sneak through the horde to fight him, and if you find a Whisperer, you gotta have a super intense, low-key quiet fight, cause if you shout out, you get eaten. Inside it's Father Gabriel holding the door, making his last stand. Looks like he's gonna die, but saved at the last minute by a crazy ninja guy in a mask. What? Turns out he's a friend of Maggie. Yes, she's back on the show. Remember, she left to go work with Georgie and the Sunglass Twins, but the gang managed to get a message to her, I guess, like, hey, these Whisperers are a big problem, we need your help. So out in the horde, our crew's proving they can be just as stealthy and deadly as the Whisperers. And it comes down to the big showdown between Beta and Negan, who hooked up with, then killed his crush Alpha. But just as he's gonna kill Negan, Daryl comes in, double knives to the face, and Beta is dead. So now without the Whisperers shepherding it, Carol's able to herd the horde over to a cliff. Yes, with her quest for vengeance complete, she's now gonna sacrifice herself to save the group. But she's grabbed at the last minute by Lydia, who's like, hey, the zombies are on autopilot now, like you don't need to jump too. And so the massive zombie horde is pulling the lemmings off the cliff. Lydia symbolically tosses her mother's mask, and the threat of the Whisperers is over. Our group made it out mostly unscathed, no major character deaths except Sadiq. In fact, we're plus a major character because now Maggie's back. Plus Magna survived. Yeah, she made it out of the cave by blending in with the horde. And Connie made it out too, though she hasn't met up with our group yet. She just meets up with Virgil. But we're not done yet because Eugene's subplot has just become the main plot. Yes, he tinkered with the radio to give it longer range, and he's been trying to reach out, find other communities. One day, someone answers him, and not just anyone, it sounds like a hot girl. For safety, they don't disclose much information, but they do strike up a radio romance. So much so, in fact, Eugene finally gets over his 10-year crush on Rosita. When things were getting bad with the Whisperers, he's like, hey girl, can we meet up? Because we might need your help. And Eugene's got a date. Ezekiel and Yumiko come along as chaperones, and they travel through Pittsburgh, where we get this big shot reminiscent of season 1. But someone in the city has been having way too much fun playing dress-up tea party with the zombies. Turns out it is our zany new character who goes by Princess. She's overly friendly and talkative, definitely a little bit crazy, but ultimately a real good person, just happy to have some living friends again. So she joins the booty call crew, but when they get to the rendezvous, Eugene's lady love is not here. But what's this? Oh, it was a trap, and they're surrounded by literal stormtroopers. What? What crazy new group is this? And that's where season 10 comes to an end. Or it would have been, except because of COVID filming delays, we got 6 bonus episodes that were unfortunately mostly boring, pointless filler. A few things happen though. We meet Maggie and Glenn's son, Herschel. Oh, he's a little baby Glenn. She's been having problems with a group called the Reapers, so watch out for that. And it sets up her confrontation with Negan. Yes, the man who brutally bashed her husband's head in is now walking free and accepted part of the group. Needless to say, Maggie is not happy about that. In fact, we got an episode of Negan's backstory where we met his real-life wife, Lucille. Turns out though she was dying of cancer, and it's a heart-wrenching story that, as you might imagine, imagine ends in tragedy, and it sent Negan down a dark path, turning him into the brutal killer we knew leading the Saviors. And so that's where The Walking Dead Season 10 comes to an end. If you like this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best recaps of TV and movies. And if you loved this recap, check out the join button and support the channel as a member.